Hey guys, what's going on? So today I have this might turn out to be a long video, but I want to do a video showing off my entire brutal death metal CD and vinyl collection as of now. So yeah, I just figured why not. I feel like talking about brutal death metal, but I just want to show off all my shit that I've accumulated over the past couple of years. This has been my favorite subgenre of metal probably for the past like year, I'd say, almost a year. I started really upset. I've been into brutal death metal since not long after I first got into death metal, but it's started to become my favorite in the past year. Specifically the more old school brutal death metal type of shit. There's a little bit of slammy stuff in here, but it's mostly straightforward brutal death metal. So yeah, let's get started. So I'll just go through. I won't separate CD and vinyl. I'll just put everything in alphabetical order. So first up, we've got Cerebral Effusion with Idolatry of the Unethical. This is a pretty alright album. This band's good, but they're nothing super unique. Wouldn't recommend this unless you're a super huge brutal death metal guy. I don't listen to this that much, but it is pretty fucking good though. Cool artwork. Put out their New Standard Elite. I believe these guys are from Spain. It's some pretty cool shit though. It kind of sounds like Consume the Forsaken era Disgorge. Little gorgasm-y. The vocals, there's a little bit of groove in here, but it's mostly just straightforward, really fast, kind of technical shit. Yeah, really cool album. Their other stuff is pretty good too, but I actually got this as a blind buy at the time, a few months ago. But pretty cool though. So Cerebral Fusion, Idolatry of the Unethical. Next up, two CDs from the same band. I bought all their stuff. This is Cranial Engorgement with Prelude to Horror. These guys are actually relatively local. They're from Pomona, which isn't very far from where I live in California. And in Flesh Metal, we're actually working with these guys, especially the drummer, because he's our manager, pretty much. So yeah, that's really fucking cool. These guys are great though. If you like Old Dying Fetus, Moral Decay type shit, you'll like this. Great shit, really awesome dudes, and yeah, this is just really great, really groovy brutal death metal. Nothing super technical, but it's not like just nothing but slam riffs. It's pretty like straightforward. It's really just fun brutal death metal. The songs are really well written though. My favorite track on here is definitely Conceived Into the Suffering. This is their demo release. They're actually working on a second full-length album, but this is pretty cool. This was also a birthday present from my friend and drummer Mo, so thanks man. Anyways, and then I also have their debut full-length album, Horrific Existence. This is a really killer album. I definitely say this is better than the demo. This was also put out, I forgot to say, this is put out through Gorehouse Productions. This one's also put out through Gorehouse. Cool album cover. Here's the back of the track listing. You've got all the songs that are on Prelude to Horror on here as well. My favorite still is Conceived Into the Suffering, but I also really like I Am God and Molded by Cruelty, which has guest vocals from John Gallagher from Dying Fetus. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, again, really groovy, little technical, sometimes even just a little bit melodic here and there, but pretty straightforward though. But just killer shit though. If you like the more old school style of brutal death metal and you want like a new band to check out, I'd highly recommend these guys, because these guys don't sound like they don't sound like most of your newer brutal death metal bands. They sound pretty like kind of like, you know, that late 90s style, but they still sound new though. They don't sound like just a nostalgia band, because these guys do have more modern, cleaner production. At least on this, the demo is a little more on the raw side. But this is just some great shit though, just awesome brutal death metal. But yeah, I highly recommend you check out Cranial Engorgement. Alright, next up we've got some proto brutal death metal shit. First two albums from the band that has my favorite death metal album of all time. I'll point out, you guys already probably know, but anyways. Cryptopsy, Blasphemy Made Flesh. This isn't my favorite death metal album of the time, but the next time I'll talk about it, I'm pretty sure you already know what I'm talking about. It's my favorite death metal album. Cool ass album cover. There's the back. This isn't my favorite Cryptopsy album. This one is a little, definitely more on the raw side. The songs aren't quite as memorable, but there's still some great tracks on here, like Defenestration, Open Face Surgery, Gravage to Cryptopsy, Mutant Christ, Pathological Frolic. Really awesome lyrics from Lord Worm on here. I love his vocals. I almost said his vocal performance. This is on clear vinyl. You guys should know this album. It's a pretty fucking classic album. But yeah, kind of shows hints of what Cryptopsy would become. But still definitely one of their best albums. Probably their second best, actually. But yeah, Blasphemy Made Flesh. And now, you already know which album I'm talking about. None So Vile. This has been my favorite death metal album for like almost 2 years. So yeah. There's nothing I can say about the song that hasn't been said. It's just a masterpiece. Some people say it's tech death. I strongly disagree with that. I know how to play every song on this album on guitar, and none of them come super close to being technical. They're not simple, but they're not like, whoa, it's like mind-bogglingly technical. It's no more technical than like Morbid Angel. The drums are definitely technical, but that doesn't make them a tech death band. Flo's drumming is amazing. Guitar riffs are awesome. Lord Worm's vocals are insane and really just misanthropic sounding on here. Every song in here is amazing, but my favorites are definitely Graves of the Fathers and Benedictine Convulsions. Amazing album. Next up, we got first 2 albums from this band. I need to get more shit from them. They were one of the first brutal death metal bands I got into. This is Deeds of Flesh with Trading Pieces. Classic band, classic album. My favorite switches between this and the next album I'll talk about. This is a reissue, it's a remaster. I actually like the original mix better, but whatever. The original album cover is the same thing as this, but it's gray instead of like that brown type of thing, and the logo's red. Cool band picture. Deeds of Flesh has always had some of the coolest band pictures, in my opinion. The booklet has water damage, which pisses me off. Really awesome gore lyrics on here. If you like old Cannibal Corpse, you'll probably like this. It's like that, but definitely more technical and more raw. This is just a more technical and more raw Tomb of the Mutilated, basically. But it's not like a rip-off or anything. It's still fairly original sounding, although they sound generic at first, but the more you listen to Deeds of Flesh, the more you understand their style, and that they have a pretty unique style, even though it's nothing super crazy, but it's not run-of-the-mill. But they have their own voice, if that makes sense. My favorite songs on here are Born and Torn Apart and Trading Pieces. Really fun album. If you don't like brutal death metal, this is a really good album to check out, because it's pretty easy to get into if you don't like brutal death metal. There's nothing too crazy going on here, but it's still pretty brutal. So yeah. Next up we have their second album, In Green the Anthropophagy. I love this one probably just as much as Trading Pieces, but my favorite switches between the two. These were both put out through Unique Leader Records. I love this album cover though. This is like a great album cover. I have a shirt of this. I fucking love it. This is like one of my favorite like band photos like ever. It's so edgy and amazing. And yeah, this album's just great though. The songs on here are really technical and almost a little bit more catchy at times. But yeah, really influential band, of course, though. Yeah, this album is basically a continuation of Trading Pieces, but more technical. Production's a little bit less raw. But this is great, though. I need to get almost all their other stuff. I'm not too crazy about their later career stuff. Obviously, they broke up. Rip Eric, because he died last year, which sucks. But for their earlier stuff, I need to get their like everything up to like their 5th album, I'd say, is like just great shit. But yeah, Deeds of Flesh and Green the Anthropophagy. Alright, next up. Okay, next up we've got my Defeated Sanity stuff. I have all their stuff except for their last 2 albums. So first up we have their debut, Prelude to the Tragedy. Pretty cool. Not my favorite from them. This is actually probably my least favorite Defeated Sanity album. But it's still very good. They have a very good discography. This is nowhere near as brutal or technical as their other stuff. This one feels more like, I don't want to say straightforward death metal, but it's a little more tech deathy than it is brutal death metal, but it is still a brutal death metal album. Yeah, if you want to get into Defeated Sanity, I don't think this is the best place to start, but it's still pretty cool. My favorite songs on here are definitely Liquefying Cerebral Hemispheres, and probably Tortured Existence. Nothing super amazing, but still a really cool debut album. Alright, next we have my favorite Defeated Sanity album, Psalms of the Moribund. This is a fucking masterpiece. Super fast, super technical, but not douchey technical. Really atmospheric and nasty and cold sounding. groovy, but also super fast, like I already said. This is just a masterpiece. Also, I love this album cover. It was actually a new reissue that came out on CD earlier this year, which is nice because this album's pretty difficult to come by. Digipack. Picture of the band back there. Yeah, this is just an awesome album. Just really chunky, really just fucking evil sounding, and this album really shows their namesake, Defeated Sanity, because this album is just really just chaotic and crazy, and just, I don't know, this is just a great brutal death metal album. Wouldn't recommend this to starters, but it's pretty fucking amazing. So yeah, Defeated Sanity, Psalms of the Moribund. Next we have their third album, which we are playing in the background right now. This is Chapters of Repugnance. I always get their album titles mixed up for some reason. This is probably my second favorite Defeated Sanity album. Really groovy album from them. They definitely up the ante when it comes to the production. I believe they actually got AJ Magana, who was in Disgorge at one point on here for vocals, which is really cool. I really enjoy his vocals. Killer album, not really much to say. Really technical, pretty jazzy at times, but brutal enough to be considered brutal death metal, definitely. Really heavy album. So yeah, Defeated Sanity, Chapters of Repugnance. I need to get their last two albums that they released. Those two are also amazing. So yeah. Next up, I showed this off my last collection update, but this is Dehumanized with Prophecies Foretold. Fun, old school slam album. You know, not the most brutal thing in the world, but it makes up for it with groove. This thing is so catchy. Just such a fun listen, honestly. If you like Internal Bleeding, Old Suffocation, stuff like that, you'll love this. Great tracks on here though, like Kingdom of Cruelty, Fade into Obscurity, Doomed to Die, the title track. It's just such a catchy, really hardcore inspired as well, brutal death metal album. So yeah. Alright, next we got All My Devourment shit, and they're my favorite brutal death metal band. That's such a generic thing to say, but I fucking love Devourment. And first up we have probably my favorite CD I own as far as like rarity. I mean, Cryptopsy Not So Wild is my favorite death metal album, and I have my favorite album of all time is Acid When the Kike String Pops. But as far as CDs that are the most prized possession to me, that are the most hard to find, this might be the cake. I'd take the cake. This is Devourment's 138. This is just perfect. This is like the slam album. Love the packaging. This is the Unmatched Brutality Records pressing of it. Pretty hard to find. This could go for like hundreds of bucks on Discogs, and I scored this for like 20 bucks. So this is Baby Killer, the song Baby Killer, their Impaled demo, and all the songs from Molesting the Decapitated, their debut album. This is just like the best death metal compilation like ever. And I love Mike Majewski's artwork. It's so fucking badass. Ruben Rosas' vocals are fucking godly. This is like probably the biggest musical influence on Flesh Mangled, definitely, even though we don't really sound like Devourment. I don't know, if it weren't for Devourment, I probably wouldn't be as into brutal death metal as I am. This album is just genuinely nasty and disgusting and catchy as fuck. Never gets old, honestly. The best songs on here, in my opinion, are pretty much all of them. There's not a single moment of filler on here, but my favorites are Choking on Bile, Postmodal Corpophagia, Molesting the Decapitated, and Fucked to Death. Just insane lyrics, insane groove, nasty as fuck, really raw, even kind of sloppy, but still manages to stay together. It's just a perfect album. And the demo is great too, and Baby Killer is like such a classic and fun song to listen to. But yeah, just great album or compilation. One day I'll seek out an original pressing of Molesting the Decapitated. Even though all the songs from that are on here, it'd be nice to have an OG press of that. But obviously I don't have the money for that right now, so yeah. Next up we have Devourment's second album, Butcher of the Week. This is really good. This is the album that got me into them, like 2 years ago. Really fun album, not quite as raw, actually nowhere near as raw. There is the original version, the blue one, which was a different recording. There's two versions of Butcher of the Week. There's the original one, which is this but blue, which I actually have a flag of that over there. But yeah, that version's really good too. I need to get that CD. It's actually not that hard, or it doesn't go for that much on Discogs, even though it's probably a little more on the rare side. Obviously, they switched to Mike Majewski on vocals, and I don't like his vocals quite as much. This is a cool color vinyl as Ruben, but he still gets the job done. Some people give him shit for not being as good as Ruben Rosas, but he's still a good vocalist. But there's some great songs on here, though, like the title track, Serial Cocksucker, Masturbating at the Slab. This probably has their most, like, insane song titles. Autoerotic Asphyxiation is great. There's a re-recording of Baby Killer that's still pretty good, but nowhere near as good as the original. That's on 138. But great album, though. This was what got me into Devourment. Then we have their third album, Unleash the Carnivore. This one's really good, too. This is one of the groovier... This is probably the second... Well, I don't know, not the second grooviest. This is one of the grooviest Devourment albums that's not Molestium the Decapitated. This one, not really many people talk about, which I don't understand why. It's a pretty fucking catchy album. It's just really fun. It's probably the most simple Devourment album. Cool, like, gray swirl color vinyl. This is just a really fun album to listen to. If I want something really groovy, this is a fun thing to listen to. Probably one of the more slammy Devourment albums for sure. There's some great tracks on here though, like Fed to the Pigs, Abomination Unseen, Incitement to Mass Murder. It's a really cool album. Not a masterpiece, but still really good. I do not own Conceived in Sewage, which is easily my least favorite Devourment album. I don't hate it, but I plan on getting it at some point. Let me turn over the record. It's pretty cool, but it's definitely their weakest thing they've ever released. But I do have, and this is like probably the fourth time I've shown that off in the video, this album off in the video in the past month. I do have their newest release, Obscene Majesty, which in my opinion, this is the best thing they've released since Butcher of the Week. This is just such a good album, and my favorite album of the year so far. There's some really, like, just nasty songs on here. Awesome color vinyl. They got Ruben back on vocals on here. His vocals are just amazing. Not as good as Molestium the Decapitated as far as his vocal performance goes, but still pretty killer. Super down-tuned guitars. Just really, like, obnoxiously heavy shit. I just love this album. Really, this is just, like, amazing. My favorite song here is definitely probably either Modem Swim Mort or Cognitive Sedation Butchery. Those are both killer songs. I should probably speed up a bit because I'm like 17 minutes in and I still have quite a bit of stuff to show off. Next up, show this in my last collection update, but this is Disentomb with Misery. Great newer brutal death metal album, one of the best albums of the 2010s when it comes to brutal death metal. Really melodic album. There's hints of like funeral doom here and there in here, which I really like. My favorite song is probably either An Edifice of Ars Bestial Impurity or Vulture's Descent. Not much I need to say since I just showed this off recently, but great shit. Next up we have all my Disgorge CDs, and they're my second favorite brutal death metal band, although sometimes they've become my favorite. It depends on what kind of mood I'm in. Obviously I'm talking about Disgorge US. Disgorge Mexico is pretty fucking awesome as well, but I like US more. I have all their albums on CDs, so first up, Cranial Impalement. This is a really awesome album. Not their best, but really nasty. This is definitely the nastiest Disgorge album and the most raw. The second half of it is actually a demo, and the first half is the album, which is like 5 songs. This is a really short release. The demo is considered part of the album. It's not like bonus tracks or anything. It's weird. Maddie Way's vocals just sound like a fucking avalanche on this album. Super heavy. Probably the least technical Disgorge album. It's still pretty damn technical. But awesome, and I love that album cover. I really want to get a shirt of that at some point. Now my favorite Disgorge album, Sheila Gutter. This is my second favorite brutal death metal album ever. This is a masterpiece. It sounds like really short. It's like 22 or 24 minutes, but every second of this is just evil sounding. The way this album is constructed feels like it just makes so much sense. I love that artwork, and I want to get a shirt of that too. Every song in here is amazing, but my favorite is definitely the title track. But I also love False Conception and Compost Devourment and Revelations. I was saying it was 13 for a while, but it was another number. I looked it up. I forgot what. But yeah, if you want to get into Disgorge, I'd say this is a pretty good place to start. Really evil sounding album, even more technical than Cranial Impalement, but about as nasty, but not quite as raw. I love the production on here though. Awesome album. Next, my second favorite Disgorge album, Consuming the Forsaken. This is the most pissed off sounding Disgorge album. Lyrically, it's less gory and more anti-religious. Super, like, fast, ton of blast beats on here. If you like blast beats, this is the album for you. They got AJ McGowan on vocals on here after Matty Whale left, or I'm not sure if he left or got kicked out, but his vocals are really, really aggressive. There's some great guitarists on here. I'm currently working on learning Consume the Forsaken, the title track on guitar. That's my favorite song here, but Perverse Manifestation is another one of my favorites. Killer, really fast album. Next we have the Last Disgorge album. This is my least favorite from them, but it's still pretty good. Heralds of Infinite Torture. I'd say this is like the fastest Disgorge album, but the songs are a little bit less blasturbation-y than on Consume the Forsaken. I just realized that, I don't know, it doesn't make one big picture, but it looks like it. But it is really cool. I like the re-recording of Atonement on here, and Descending Upon Convulsive Devourment is a really cool song. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend this unless you're a hardcore Disgorge fan, which I am, and I do like this album, but it's not my favorite. So yeah. Next we have all my Dying Fetus stuff. I'll try to get through these pretty quickly because we're over 20 minutes in, and I don't think anyone want to watch this video if it gets super long. But I don't have Purification to Balance, but I want to get that so bad because I love that album. But first up, Killing on Adrenaline. This was a gift from my girlfriend for Christmas last year, and this is an amazing album. This is my favorite Dying Fetus album. So many amazing tracks on here. This is a super angry album. There's just so many catchy songs, like the title track, Procreate the Malformed, Fornication Terrorist, Kill Your Mother, Rape Your Dog, Judgment Day, Intentional Manslaughter. This is a masterpiece. Next up, Grotesque Impalement EP. This gets most people into Dying Fetus. Really fun EP. The title track is one of their best songs, if not their best song. You should all know this. Second favorite Dying Fetus album, Destroy the Opposition. A little more technical, but still really great. This is the album that really got me into them. Really just fun album. Not as angry as the first two albums, but still just furious. Really groovy, but also super technical. Amazing album. My least favorite Dying Fetus album, Stop at Nothing. One Shot, One Kill is great. The rest of the songs are just kind of, not bad, but a little fillery, I guess, but a little more run-of-the-mill, but still cool. And then I got Descending to Depravity, the most tech death album. This really isn't that brutal, but it's still brutal, but it's not the best Dying Fetus album. But I like it. And then I've got Reign Supreme. This is a good album, but I don't think it's their best. I know some people say that, but I disagree with that. It is pretty cool though. I really like Subjected to a Beating and From Wound to Waste and In the Trenches. They're all really good songs. It's just on black vinyl. There's no point in showing that. It's a pretty cool album. I could see why so many people like it, but it's more fun than it is angry at sounding, which I really like Dying Fetus for their like attitude, I guess. That sounds really cringe, but you know what I mean. Last Dying Fetus thing I've got, Wrong One to Fuck With. This is a great album, actually. For something this late in their career, this is awesome. It's still more clean, but it's a little... The groove in here is pretty unique compared to their other albums, because it still sounds like Dying Fetus, but it's more technical, which is cool. Not much to say. Simple but fun album. Well, it's not simple, but you know what I mean. It's a simple joy, I guess. Next up, this isn't really brutal death metal, but it is in that brutal category. This is Mortician with Hacked Up for Barbecue. Simple, brutal death metal / death grind stuff. You know, really short songs. They all sound pretty much the same, but they're really great. Mortician's not my favorite band ever, but I do enjoy them when I'm in the right mood. If I want some like cheesy horror movie inspired death metal, this is the way to fucking go. Let's see. Okay, next up we have a First Press, and this is probably another one of my more prized possessions in my brutal death metal collection. This is Putrid Pile's collection of Butchery. This was also a gift from my girlfriend. This is a First Press, as I already said. I don't know if I already said that or not, but whatever. This is my favorite Putrid Pile album. I also really need to get the second album, The Pleasure and Suffering. I really like that one too. Sean is awesome. There's so many catchy... This is a really simple but catchy and fun brutal death metal album. If you're new to brutal death metal, this might be a good place to start. There's some fun songs on here, like Drenched in Gasoline, Gallery of Horrors, Collection of Butchery. Yeah, it's a short album, and one-man band, obviously. The drums are fake as fuck. I mean, the snare sounds like a kick, and the kicks just sound like lower kicks. The production's not raw by any means. but it's definitely very old school sounding. Kind of slammy at times, but I'd say this is pretty much straightforward brutal death metal. Really groovy. It sounds like if Deicide played brutal death metal. That's how I felt about. I always felt Putrid Pile felt like to me. That's kind of a weird thing to say, but I don't know. I love this album, and this is one of my favorite brutal death metal albums. Yeah, killer shit. Putrid Pile Collection of Butchery. Last but certainly not least, we have the first brutal death metal album, in my opinion. Suffocation's Effigy of the Forgotten. This is one of my favorite records I own. This album is just a blast to listen to. You all know that Legion of Veracity is the first slam riff ever. That's just such a great fucking song. But also there's some other great tracks on here, like the title track, Infecting the Crypt, Jesus Wept. This is a masterpiece. I mean, almost every brutal death metal band is basically just playing their own variation of this. If you don't know this album, and you're into brutal death metal, I don't really know what to say to you. This is like the brutal death metal album. If you're new to the genre, this is like probably the first thing you should listen to. Love this album so much. So that's my entire brutal death metal collection as of now. I plan on getting definitely more shit. There's a lot of CDs I want to get. I need to get some more slam stuff. Definitely, I want to get the first Visceral Disgorge album, Cephalotripsy. There's also more regular brutal death metal shit I really need, like Regurgitations, Tales of Necrophilia, the first two Brodekin albums, the first Dying Fetus album, as I already said, more Deeds of Flesh stuff, the rest of the Defeated Sanity albums. There's a lot of... Oh, I also need some Internal Bleeding. If I could find that Repudiation compilation CD, if you guys like Devourment, I would highly recommend that band. They're like a really underrated band. There's just tons of shit I need to get. Yeah, love this fucking subgenre. I know it's not for everybody, but I love it, especially the early stuff from like the late 90s. Yeah, that's it for this video though. Hope you guys enjoyed. This is a long video. Yeah, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.